David Adeleye moved to 11-0, 10 by way of this past weekend with a second round knockout victory over Dimitro Bezos. Now, I haven't seen the full fight. I've only seen the clip that BT put up on their YouTube channel, which shows the knockout. It's only a short fight. Anyway, I would like to see the full thing, but as I say, I haven't been able to locate it. I'm really here to talk about the potential matchup against Fabio Wardley rather than his performance against Bezos until I've reviewed it in full. The knockout itself, Bezos backed David Adeleye towards the ropes. Adeleye, I think he hit him with a right hand in the body first and then came upstairs with a left hook. So distracted him with a body shot and then came up with a hook, and the fight was effectively over. I think it was waved off after the guy got to his feet. So that was the performance. Very nice punch. Now, after the fight, Adeleye's people, expressed interest in him facing Fabio Wardley, who is the current British heavyweight champion. Now, Wardley is a guy who's easy to underestimate because of the lack of amateur background. And also, when you look at some of his performances, he gets caught and he seems to need to get buzzed before he actually gets going. We saw that in his last fight against Nathan Gorman. We also saw that when he fought Eric Molina a few fights ago. Now, that might be okay against the Nathan Gormans and Eric Molinas of the world. I don't think it would be okay against David Adeleye. I think against someone like Adeleye, who, to me, and I've said this since the first time I saw him, I think has a lot of potential. To me, he is better technically than Fabio Wardley. His form looks better. I like the way he throws his punches better. But Fabio Wardley has shown us so far that he's got the heart of a lion. And that heart has been able to compensate so far. Look, it's not that Wardley's only got heart. He's got more than just heart. He is athletic. He can move a bit, got decent hand speed, and obviously there's power there. But there are holes in his game defensively. There are holes in his game technically. I think Adeleye is a bit more well put together technically than Fabio Wardley. And Adeleye looks like a guy who has the eye of the tiger as well. We haven't seen him under pressure. We haven't seen him hurt. We haven't seen him in trouble to know for sure. But just his demeanor and the way he carries himself, he seems like a very self-assured kind of guy. We know that he's been sparring Tyson Fury for quite a while now. Him and Fury are apparently quite close. So he's getting very, very good work in the gym by way of learning. And I suspect that will stand him in very good stead should he step in the ring against Fabio Wardley anytime soon. Now, Wardley responded to this call out by Adeleye's people, Frank Warren and so on. It's either Frank or George, one of the Warrens. He responded by saying, "If you want to feed him to me, no problem." He basically said that he doesn't think Adeleye is ready right now, but if they want to have Adeleye face him at this juncture, then he's all up for it. Yeah, I think that Wardley, definitely a brave guy. If the fight gets made, maybe Wardley's going to prove me wrong, but I'll be picking David Adeleye if it gets made anytime soon. Adeleye is 11-0, as I say, with 10 KOs. Fabio Wardley, 15-0 with 14 KOs. So there isn't really that much in it in terms of professional experience. And Wardley's only had 4 more fights. So this isn't like some guy with 30 fights going up against someone with 11 fights. This is a guy with 11 fights going up against the guy with 15 fights. So yeah, I don't really see the experience gap being much of an issue. And talking of experience, Fabio Wardley only had a few white collar fights. He had no amateur fights at all. White collar is the equivalent in the United States, I guess, of, what would you call it? Tough man contest, something like that. So, and when it comes to his white collar fights, I think he only had about 3 or 4 of them. Whereas with David Adeleye, I believe he had something like 20 or so amateur fights. Not vastly experienced in the amateurs, but more experienced than Fabio Wardley. And as I say, those sparring sessions, many sparring sessions that with Tyson Fury are going to stand him in good stead. So that's my take on the situation. I hope it happens sooner rather than later. I like it when fighters get in there relatively early on in their careers against their domestic rivals who are at a similar stage. I think David Adeleye can definitely fight for a British title right now. I know a lot of people are still banging on about that Kamil Sokolovsky fight, and I've definitely got a different perspective on the Sokolovsky fight than many other people. I didn't think it was this horrible robbery that most other people seem to think it was. And since that time, he hasn't faltered. Now, obviously, the opposition hasn't been great, right? We're not going to try and pretend otherwise, and I include Dimitro Bezos in that. The opposition's not great, but he has to step up at some point. And, every fighter finds themselves in a position in their careers where they take a step up and they haven't fought anybody who came close to that level prior. I mean, Anthony Joshua's real step up was Dillian Whyte. He never fought anyone close to the level of Dillian Whyte prior, you see? So you have to eventually put him in that situation where it's sink or swim. David Adeleye believes he's ready for Fabio Wardley right now. And again, Fabio Wardley didn't have any amateur fights, just a couple of white collar. As a pro, yes, he's fought better opposition than David Adeleye. So it's not just down to the number of fights. The quality of opposition that Wardley's been facing is better. We just have a brief look at his record. Nathan Gorman is on there, obviously. Nick Webb is on there. Eric Molina, Richard Latte. Yeah, so there are names on there which trump the names on Adelaye's record to date, other than Sokolovsky, who most people, I'm one of the few who didn't think that was a robbery. But yeah, other than Sokolovsky, you'd have to say that Wardley's record or the opponents he's faced are of a higher caliber. But yeah, Adelaye's got the advantage of having more amateur fights. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with me that David Adeleye might have the edge over Fabio Wardley? Or I'm going to assume most of you don't. Let me know if you're picking Fabio Wardley if this fight gets made.
Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.